Welcome back to the Route 281 podcast, your weekly look into the lives of the people that make Somerset County, Pennsylvania such a special place to be. Today's guest is a friend of mine. He's a brother in Christ. He served in the United States Air Force as military security, and he's got an extensive career in the Pennsylvania Department of Corrections. He's a great guy, and I'm happy to welcome to the podcast today Mr. Todd Pritts. By now, you've figured out that this is a local podcast, talking about local people. And when it comes to building materials, I buy local. That's why I go to SDC Building Center in Somerset. It's no surprise to anybody that it's getting nice outside. You get outside and you see everything that you need to do to your house to get it in shape for the spring and for summer. Whether it's new siding, roofing, or building a deck, SDC has what you need to get the job done right. That's why I shop at SDC Building Center in Somerset. See him today. Yeah, my dad, when he's here, he's like, I swear that's Sugarloaf. And I'm like, Dad, I think it's that way. But he's like, I think that's Sugarloaf. But I don't think so. I think he's too far to the right.
That's not over our way. Would that be over towards?
If you're looking that way, be looking towards Dave Lemon's Sugar Camp. If you kind of look that way. Dave Lemon's, so... All right, we'll get started. This is episode 37. Today's guest is Todd Pritts. Todd is a Air Force veteran, and then spent how many years in the PA State prison system?
32.
Not as a prisoner, right?
No.
As a correctional officer.
Yes, sir.
Which is an experience in all its own.
Yes, it is.
But Todd and I, and is joined today by his lovely wife, Tracy, that you can't see. But just grateful you would take the time and sit with me on my podcast. But this is really just a conversation between Todd and I. We're friends. We go to church together. We've been going there for about a year. You just met my pastor last week's episode. But I'll say the first day that we walked into Wesley Chapel, we sat next to you and Tracy right behind you. And I don't know if you remember, but you turned around, kindly introduced yourselves, made us feel welcome. We'll never forget that. And you mentioned a men's breakfast to me, and we just felt like part of the family from the beginning. And we've never looked back. We said we started going to that church, and it fit our time schedule that day, and we had no intention of staying, but we wanted to go, and we were planning to church hop for quite a while. And we never went anywhere else after that. We figured that we were going to church hop for about the next several months until we found where the Lord was leading us. But turns out it was right there, because we never went anywhere else, and we never looked back. So.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's
I mean, that's a testament to the people that go there. Just my kids felt welcome, which was important to us.
Yes.
And anytime you transition, you always whether you're moving, you think about your kids. Because when you might affect you in a way, but when you have kids, it's really not about you anymore. No.
You are part of the family there, and it surprises me that when people tell me they've only come to Wesley Chapel this period of time, and I don't view it as that short of a time. It's like they've always been part of the family. You have that connection.
Yeah.
And
pull your mic up just a little bit.
That's a blessing.
There you go.
Good.
I can't see you. That's good. Whoops, sorry. Okay. So what I wanted to do today a little bit was, we obviously know each other a little, but I don't know much about your military career. Something that, and you've heard me say this before, but I have a patriotic tug in my heart. And I got that term tug from that astronaut I listened to, that Butch Wiltmore podcast I was telling you. He says from a young age he had a patriotic tug in his heart, to join the service. And I didn't realize that till it was too late, really. you know. But so I appreciate everybody that served, and it's fun for me to hear their story. So take us back to, were you 18 when you enlisted?
I would have been 17 when I was.
Okay. So take us back to 17-year-old Todd Pritts, is probably just out of high school, and why the Air Force, and what made you want to serve?
I would have been 17, but I did not report till I was 18.
Okay.
I turned 18 and then I went, but I was already, it was called the Delayed Enlistment Program, I believe, at that time.
So you could sign up ahead of time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's something I had a neighbor that was in the Air Force, and I enjoyed listening to him and his stories. My father was in the Navy. At that time, I was surrounded. We had a lot of WW2 vets in our church.
Yeah.
Which we don't have any now.
Yeah.
That's left. I had a great influence of a military background. If you look at Wesley Chapel, we have a military board when the guys were stationed, and their addresses was on it, so you could write to them.
Oh, nice.
And I have an uncle that was in there, but yeah, I think it was the family members and that influenced me, and the neighbors, and just the overall influence of that. And also, at that time in the early 80s, the economy wasn't that great. I mean, there wasn't a lot of jobs to be had. And as a young man, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
And I think that's a challenge for a lot of people. I think a lot of people go to a college when they're not sure what they want to do.
Yeah, that's
without
true.
direction.
And then they get out 4 years later and still don't know. Or regret what they went for. Or some, like my wife, knows exactly what they want to do, and they do it.
Exactly. Some people have that. I'll tell you a quick story about Albert Knobloch. Owns the fireworks company.
Oh,
He makes fireworks. He was on Dirty Jobs.
okay.
He went here to Kingwood. He was in my class. And when we was young kids, he would sit out there in the field, and he would say, bring me sandstones. And we would bring him sandstone, and he would pound it into dust, sandstone. And we say, what are you doing, Albert? He says, I'm making gunpowder. Little did we know that he was going to make fireworks for a living.
Yeah. Nowadays, they'd haul you off if you did that on the playground.
Yeah, I never forget that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he went and did it.
He had that drive since he was probably 7 years old.
Yeah. Some people do. They just meant to do something and stick with it. And
what a gift.
yeah.
And I didn't have that gift. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was interested somewhat in law enforcement. I signed up to be a security police.
Okay.
Which I had a great job in the military Air Force. I also had a girlfriend at the time who became my wife. And that gave me stability to have a family. We got married while I was in the military. My son was born there in South Dakota. So she got to experience a military life with me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, my son remembers much. He was 2 when I got out of the military. But the Air Force was really good to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where did you do your basic training?
I did my basic training in Lackland Air Force Base. That's in San Antonio. And then I did my schooling down there for security police. And then they sent me to an Army camp, Camp Bullis, to do, they sent me there for 2 weeks of training, and then I ended up stuck there for another 6 weeks. So I ended up being there for 8 weeks in an Army training camp, which was a really good experience for me. I fit right in because it was in the wilderness. We learned to read a compass and how to navigate through the woods and all that, and I just felt comfortable there.
Yeah, you had some of that background already from living around here, probably hunting growing up, and.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah. Did you see some students, or that were like fish out of water? That this is the first time they'd ever been introduced to this type of thing?
Yes, I did.
I always think there's kids that join, God bless them, that just have no knowledge of a gun, a weapon, or we take that for granted around here. We grow up like that, hunting, fishing, building campfires, survive, stuff. That basic stuff probably was really helpful.
Oh, it was. I mean, I thrived in it.
Yeah.
I ended up being the point man to read the compass. They also, I didn't care for this job. The guy that got the job originally was the M60 man, and that's a heavy piece of equipment. That's a heavy weapon to carry. And he was a muscle-bound guy, great big guy from Pittsburgh, and it was out of his element. And he lasted half a day, and they gave it to the scrawny country boy, me, to carry it, and I ended up carrying that thing for 8 weeks. She got pictures of me holding 2 of them up.
Nice.
But yes, I ended up enduring that, and I think that was just from all working on the farm and stuff gave me the strength to do that, and I kind of did it like that guy for not being able to do his job and me have to do it. So we lived in foxholes. We had to dig a foxhole and live in it, and I was with him in a
For how long?
Well, all week, 2 weeks at a time. So then at night you would go out and you would do battles. They'd have tanks running and bombs going off and flash grenades, everything. It was combat and combat training basically. And I'll never forget, he couldn't smoke in the foxhole at night because you would see the light. And I talked him into, I chew. I said, just take a chew. It's the same thing. I got even with him. I watched him get really sad. and I should have done something like that, but when you're young and you're 18, you think, I'll get even with you.
Yeah.
And so, for me have to carry that M60, I'll never forget how sick he got. You know what that first chew does.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, so,
And for some dumb reason, you try it again.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Somebody told me that once. It's like, rat poison will make you sick. You're not going to eat that again. It's like, I don't know what it was.
I haven't had a chew. My wife probably tells you, it's probably been 20, 30 years. Not that I haven't taken one once in a blue moon, but
yeah,
I have not. You still have that desire.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a strong addiction.
Yeah, Lindsay made me quit when we were getting married. I lost a pool game to her. She said, if you lose this pool game, you have to quit, But I knew it wasn't about the pool game. I was going to quit, or I wasn't going to be able to kiss her anymore,
Yeah.
So I was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're more aware of the damages it does to the body than it was back then. So, yeah.
So 4 years in the Air Force?
I did 4 years. I was stationed, and then after my training in Texas, I got stationed in South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know anything about South Dakota.
So you're in a new place.
Ellsworth Air Force Base, and I fell in love with South Dakota. You got the Badlands, you got the Black Hills, you got Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
And you could hunt. You could buy a license for the prairie, and you could buy a license for the Black Hills. And being in the military, I got them at residence cost, so it was very cheap to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically lived hunting out there. That's what I did.
Yeah. So you had off time. Because I think of the little things that somebody who's joining might want to know. Are you on their time 24 hours a day? Or at that point, once you're stationed there, you're on duty, you have off time also?
My first job, this sounds awful. I take Tracy, we get married, we go out there, we drive out there, and we're probably at the base 3 days, and I go out to the missile field. I was a missile field cop, they call it. And we would go out to where they kept the nuclear weapons, and we would stay in the facility for so many days, for 3.5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be gone. So I take a young lady out there, and then I say, see you, I'll be back and see you in 3.5 days.
Yeah.
And I would come back, and then you would have training, and you would get a day or two off. And then I did that for the first year. And by that time I had basically almost 2 years in, and a man come up to me and says, I think you need to apply for this job. he gave it to me, and it said it was a special duty assignment. And I said, special duty assignment. I got that qualifications, and it was alert force controller. And I thought, doesn't know anything about it. He said, apply. I don't know what this guy's seen in me. I applied for that job. They called me in for an interview. It was a pretty intense interview. After they talked to me, and I've never seen them do this in any other service job, they made my spouse go in for an interview. And I don't know if she even remembers it, but she had to go in the office and she went through an interview.
I'm sure Tracy passed with flying colors.
Yeah. She's probably the reason they gave me the job.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine so. Yeah. Knowing Tracy, yep, they probably scarfed you right up.
But and they also came back here and talked to a lot of people, and that was probably the most rewarding and a job that when I look back, why they gave that job to such a young man, I don't know why they chose me. They gave it to me. It was you could only do it for 2 years of your career in the military. You couldn't go past that 2 years. So that's
so that was was that your final 2 years?
Yes, and when that tour was up, they told me just to wear civilian clothes the rest of my time. They didn't want me going around the rest of the troops. So I wore civilian clothes, and they gave me a job, help remodeling something.
Yeah.
They took very good care of me. I had I would work 12-hour shifts. I'd work 2 days on, 2 days off, 2 days on, 2 days off. I had more authority than I should have for an airman.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody reported to me,
Yeah.
and I kept the status board up on the wall. All the pilots, co-pilots, boom operators, they couldn't leave the building without telling me where they was going. They could, when they got someplace, they had to call me, tell me where they was. If they left, they had to call me and tell me what it was. I was responsible for tracking and keeping everything in order. And it was probably, I had a safe by my desk. If any kind of situation went off, it was I had the clearance to open that safe and give directives to the flights.
Yeah.
And it was a very intense job. Very.
Well, it's funny because when you look back and you think of times I shouldn't have. Well, you say I shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been my job or whatever. But God elevates people that He knows can handle things. Sometimes, even if it's not somebody that we think, by our worldly standards would qualify. He's done that throughout history in the Bible. You look at the people He's elevated that were scoundrels in their past life, but it's an attitude of the heart that He cares about.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it was with me. They seen that I was young already. At that time, I was married to Tracy, and we had a son, and maybe they seen I took on responsibility. I don't know, but it was a great job, and the highlight of one of my nights was I'm sitting there, and I told them I'd work Christmas Eve if I could be off Christmas morning that day to be with my son and wife. And Ronald Reagan come over the radio and talk to the alert crews. So if you was an alert crew on alert, you had a special radio. And Ronald Reagan come on there and talk to us.
Yeah.
And that was just so awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. Very neat.
So
What did he say to you?
He always just talked to us.
Yeah. What did he say? Do you remember?
He wished us all Merry Christmas, and he thanked us for what we was doing. He always seemed to be a humble man.
Yeah.
For being an actor and becoming president, being a governor, he always seemed to be a humble man.
Yeah, like connected to his roots and
down to earth.
So this would have been what? I guess kind of during the Cold War, tail end.
80, yeah. It was from
tail end of the
83, and I got out the end of 86, the beginning.
Yeah, so during that time where the nuclear arms race was kind of hot and heavy, and
yeah, and I know what we had, and
where they were telling kids to get under their desks.
What?
In schools, right? They were, during that time period, where as if that would have done anything.
It seems to me that when I look back, I might have been a little bit cocky as a young man because I knew what we had at one base.
Yeah.
And when you have the bigger weapons, and you have lots of them, and the ability to use them, you feel a little bit superior to your enemy when they would try to threaten you.
Yeah. Thank goodness we had a humble president at the time,
Yeah.
Or restraint, maybe is a better word. But before we go any further, I want to do two things. If I could pray.
Yes.
And then we'll do that first. But Heavenly Father, I just thank you for my friends Todd and Tracy. Just grateful to get to know them and to be a part of the church family there at Wesley Chapel. Just grateful for their friendship, their devotion to you and to their family, to their children and grandkids. Just ask your blessing over our conversation. Thank you for all the men and women serving our country, whether it's overseas or here at home, our law enforcement. We're just grateful, Lord. Would you bless them, bless our time here today, in Jesus' name, amen. And I want to give you your hat.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You know I listen to every podcast.
I know you do. And Todd, the first time this came out and Todd praised it during prayer and praise, he said, we got a podcaster in our church, That meant a lot to me. I appreciate that.
It means a lot to me. I'm the type of guy, when I ask you, how was your vacation? And if you look at me and tell me nice, I'm highly disappointed.
Yeah.
I want to know about it.
Yeah.
I want to, there's so much to see and so much to do. I'm never going to see it. I'm never going to do it all. But if you can tell me about your vacation, someplace I might never be or go or see, I want to know about it. I want to hear about it. And I love that. I told you, like Charlie, Charlie and Martha, I missed their thing at our church.
They should do their own podcast to where they go.
Yes, they gave me a little thing I took home, and I sat for an hour and I watched them on video. I watched the thing he made, telling all about his trip. I love that information.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I like listening to podcasts. When I'm doing dishes, when I'm doing stuff, I'm listening to something.
Yeah. Hey, before you came, I was doing some vacuuming.
Yep.
And I'm listening to Joe Rogan talk to Pierre Poilievre, who's a opposition party leader in Canada. You can listen to somebody's, I didn't listen to it all, and I may finish it, but you're right. There's so much out there, and this has given us the ability to hear somebody's story that you might not otherwise get to. And they can go on the news and give a 10-minute talk, 5 minutes, they ask a couple questions. But when you listen to a conversation that's 3 hours long, you really get to know the person, what they believe, how they feel. And in this case, we're local people, regular people just sharing stories about, and if it inspires some young person who had some questions about the Air Force,
Sure.
Hey, great,
Sure.
Or if they hear the gospel, great, or if they learn about something that's right here in their hometown that they never knew existed, great. That's kind of my motivation.
It's information highway. I listen to, how the drones are being used. Sam, as a superintendent, talked about how they got to use the phones in the education system.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to realize it's part of life now. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah, and just you have better access, maybe. I don't know. So, do you view your? I'm sure you do, but looking back, you view your military experience as positive?
Oh, 100%.
Did you make friends that you?
Yes, we made friends. We still in contact once in a while. We have one couple in South Carolina we stay in touch with, and Facebook helps with that.
Yeah.
Facebook, did that change the whole?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you see what they're up to. And
yes.
Next time you talk, it doesn't feel like it's been so long.
Yeah, and the podcast, the thing with you is podcast, and somebody, I think it was Willie Robertson, that was Duck Dynasty, says people watched him faithfully, and he said that the only downfall was that when people just come up and give him the biggest hug, or like
they know.
They know him, and
Yeah.
they do know a lot about him, but he doesn't know them. He says,
Right.
"Wait a minute, I don't know you."
Yeah.
I
My kids love
know.
that. Yeah. My kids love that show. Hannah in particular. She's like, she asked permission. Can I watch Duck Dynasty? Wow, I've got this done, and this done. She's like, I have a 15-minute window. Can I watch Duck Dynasty? And I'm like, absolutely. I love that she loves it because it's wholesome. It's funny, and there isn't a whole lot that you can put on that everybody can enjoy.
True.
And we watched the reruns, we watched the new episodes. I got to hear him speak at my mom and stepdad's church down in South Carolina.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, he can't. Awesome. Yeah, it was very. They did a whole Man's Day. They do men's, like we have men's group. They do one day. They may have a men's group also. I don't know, but they called it Man Church, and they do this every year. Well, Willie Robertson was guest speaker the year I went, and in their parking lot they had axe throwing. They had guys there with Labrador retrievers doing demonstrations in the pond on the property with throwing decoys and ducks, and the labs would go after it. They had an old beat-up vehicle. They would let you just come up and take a sledgehammer and crunch it. There were kids standing on top of this car swinging, and then they went in and had all kind of games, food trucks. It was just for, fellowship for the men. And then Willie gave his talked about his testimony, his dad's testimony, and that was really good. It was neat. It was just a neat experience. They had Tim Tebow the year after.
Oh, great.
So,
great man.
Yeah.
Great man of God.
Yeah.
Yes, it's and you say about letting your daughter watch a show. I think the closer you get to the Lord, the harder it is to find something that would be to watch it's pleasing to Him.
Yeah.
And that's how you got to think. Hey, there's no greater sinner on this earth than I, Todd Pritts. I know that. And that's why I can say that our God's an awesome God, because He finds it to forgive me.
Yeah.
So if He can forgive Todd Pritts, He can forgive anybody.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. We try to run everything through that filter. But it is getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
But this Angel Studios now is doing some stuff that's suitable, So kudos to them. And I should say, like, Tracy, that's very courageous and brave of you also to go with, because you're both leaving something that to go in some place you don't know and moving and serving your country. She served also. I'd say that about all military wives, that or husbands or whoever's not going. You're a part of it because you got to be supportive, especially when they go away.
We got married. She finished high school out there. Not only did she finish high school, she ended up having a child out there, and she didn't know many people. And she didn't.
That'd be tough.
You
grow up quick.
you do grow up quick. All we had was each other.
Hey Todd, I want to pause real quick. There's something going on with your audio. Hey, let's be honest. Summer is right around the corner, and it's not too soon to start planning that summer vacation. So contact Lindsay at Quiet Waters Travel. Message her on Facebook, or check out her website, or email her. I'll put the link in the description. But Lindsay's an expert. She'll help you plan your trip and make it as smooth as possible. Whether you want a hotel on the beach, an all-inclusive resort to Mexico, or a cruise to the Bahamas, contact Lindsay at Quiet Waters Travel. Okay, we're back from the break. And I apologize if there has been a audio on Todd's mic. We think we fixed it. So I forget where we were at. Closing. Oh, we were talking about military families being apart just as much as the guy serving and sacrificing also.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And Tracy comes from a military family. Her dad was in Vietnam, and she always would tell you her dad was never the same.
Does that sound better for you now?
Yes.
You can.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay.
But so her dad was never the same after he came back from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about trying to find a Vietnam vet for the show. But there's one of my customers is a Vietnam veteran, so I don't know. See if he'd be interested. But okay, then how long before? So after your anything else from the military side that, funny story, anything like that you want to share,
No, I could just tell you, living in South Dakota is quite different. We experienced a hailstorm that cost them millions and millions of dollars of damage. We actually had a hailstorm that the hail was size of baseball, and there wasn't a window left in any house or anywhere around us. It destroyed automobiles and killed animals, and we lived through one of them experiences, and we also lived through hailstorms where they actually had to get plow trucks out and plow hell off the road that would be 5 inches deep of ice. Yeah,
that's incredible.
And as a matter of fact, my first hailstorm, we're sitting at a stoplight, and something hit my vehicle, and then I see a hunk of ice. I said, "Who's throwing ice at us?" And Trace goes, "That's not ice. No one's throwing ice at us. That's hell." And then we realized, but I thought it was a stop sign that somebody was throwing ice at my car. But they have a lot of hailstorms, seems like, out there.
Is it southern part, it's hills, right?
The Black Hills, but the prairie's different. It's a long state. Yeah. It's a big state.
Yeah, it is.
The wind always blows. They have a lot of wind. lots of sunshine, but the wind blows a lot. Yeah. So, but no, the military career was really good. To have a child in it, and
does it seem like that long ago, or not?
I can't believe it's been that long ago. Yeah. Let's put it that way. I can't believe it's going to be 40 years here next year.
Yeah.
By the end of this year, I got out Thanksgiving, so this Thanksgiving will be 40 years. Since I left.
Well, if I've never told you, thank you for your service, but I'm sure I have.
It's my privilege to be able to serve.
Yeah.
I think every man should do what he's called to do, whether it's serve in the military or go work and go to school, whatever it is, to make this world a better place. I think whatever you're called to do, you answer that call.
I looked into Navy chaplain for a while.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I thought, wow, how cool would it be to go and imagine if you could get to preach to the Navy SEALs, give them before they go in, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're a chaplain, who knows what unit you get attached to? You know what I mean? Everybody needs it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been neat?
Oh, it'd been awesome. Yeah.
But that was my ship sailed. I'm serving here at home.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, every man's called to serve in some way, and you're doing it.
I just think it's interesting. I think it could be a life of adventure for young folks who don't know what they want to do. Serve your country and get to see the world, meet new people. You'll probably have both experiences, good, maybe some you don't like, some that'll test your character, some that'll test your strength, and but hey, regardless of who's in office, you're still serving your country.
Yeah,
you don't get to say why you go where you go, but you're serving. And I think of them on that note too. Sometimes, they don't get to say why they're going where they're going, but they're serving regardless. I've prayed for all presidents.
Sure, you should. Yeah. We should. I
prayed for Obama and Joe Biden. And Trump, all of them alike. Because
some of them need more prayers than others, and that's just how it is. And we better be on our knees. Yeah. I think a country on its knees in prayer is everything. Yeah.
Bible says pray for your enemies, and I'm not saying any of them are my enemies. I'm just saying that even if you don't agree with somebody, pray for them. Pray for Israel. Pastor Tim prayed for the people of Israel to come to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sure. And I told you at the beginning that it would come to that with you and me. I don't think you and me can have a conversation without
bringing it back to the Lord.
Yeah. I don't think that's possible.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that leads me to so how tough was it? Well, tell me your faith journey.
Well, my faith journey would have probably been when I was young. My parents always took me to church, and I knew Christ, and I had the education, and I had the moral background. But to say I was walking the walk and had a personal relationship with Christ, I'd say I did not. You know, it kept me probably on a path that kept me out of a lot of trouble, but I probably, like I told you before, I might be the worst sinner on earth. I don't know that. But my faith journey probably come to a head actually after my kids were raised, and my wife looked at me one day and said, you know, it's about time you become the man that God called you to be, and be the husband, the father, the grandfather, the son that God wants you to be, not who you want to be.
And behind every good man is a good woman.
And that hit me really hard. Praise the Lord for Tracy addressing that issue. And I started reading my Bible like never before. And just like the Spirit hit me, and I went to Pastor Dent. I said, I want baptized. I was baptized as an infant. I said, I'm not aware of that. I want to profess my faith to my church. I want my church to know that I'm not the same person. Because it's hard to live in a community and witness about Christ when they know all your things you've done in your life. And people know who, they know your sins. And I wanted to be baptized. So I would say my faith walk, I think my parents praying for me throughout my life
means so
made
much.
a difference. Tracy's grandfather, I will tell you this much, he was always in prayer for us. He did come to Christ till he was in his 40s, and he had no relationship with God whatsoever, like I did, brought up in church. And when he came to Christ, he came to Christ. He was a new man from the very beginning. And when I first met this man, he's 50-some years old with a cowboy hat. I'm a 15-year-old boy. My girlfriend's 14. He walks up on the porch, and he has a Bible in his hand. And he hands me this Bible and says, read this, boy. I started reading the Bible. And I wasn't going to tell him, no, he's a big man. Yeah. I started reading the Bible.
This is her grandpa?
That was her grandfather.
Yeah, okay.
And he was probably the biggest influence on our life. And things he said to me didn't really make sense, but now they do.
Yeah.
Is it something how, like, there's a veil pulled off of you, and all of a sudden you see it for what it is?
Yeah.
And there was a man deep in his faith, no formal education. I believe he finished 8th grade. He was a pipeliner, worked equipment, but he was probably one of the greatest influences as far as Christ-like in my life. And I grew up Wesley Chapel. I had great pastors, great people, great Sunday school teachers, great everything. I mean, it wasn't for lack of having that. It was just me being obedient to what I was being taught. Mm-hmm. You have to be obedient.
Yeah, and similar, similar story.
It's easy to get to John 3:16, believe and you're saved, but we don't finish John 3, chapter 3, and it says believe and obey.
Yeah.
And the obedience part is, and the obedience and the belief go together.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other. But I lived that life that I believed, but I didn't obey.
Yeah. It's funny how when you get saved, you're not done yet. God shapes you, molds you. Teaches you, you learn things. I'm still growing.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, that's not the whole, like, that is the point. Our salvation, we're going to get there. Mm-hmm. But he's not done with you yet when you get saved.
No, you're hungry for it. I'm hungry. The Word of God becomes my bread. It becomes my manna. It becomes life to me. It becomes where I want to wake up in the morning, and that's where I want to spend my time right from the get-go. I want to be in it. I want to know it. I squandered too many years. I squandered a lot of my life living the way Todd wanted to live. And for some reason, he showed me grace and mercy and kept me on that right path. And I had a great woman in my life when I worked corrections up at Rockview, and she always talked about grace, and she demonstrated, even though she might not have been the Christ-like example that she even should have been all the time. She demonstrated grace in a way that helped me through my life. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My wife is certainly my bedrock for my. You know, she introduced me to the idea of salvation, and I was a Catholic, but I was like, yeah, I went to church, probably good people around me.
Yeah.
Didn't that,
Yeah.
you know, good, but I never got it. And even after she, you know, gave me the instructions of how to be saved, and I prayed for it, I did it for her, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until years later when God said, all right, your time.
Yeah.
You're going to, you know, and I prayed, got saved, and I knew when my faith, like whenever I was actually, that time when I actually gave my life to Christ.
And,
Yeah, and it took years for him to sort some things out, you know.
Sure it does.
You know.
Sure, you're going to, you know, the devil's not going to come at you that hard when he already got you. When you enjoy all the things of the flesh, he's not going to bother you that much. He already got you.
Yeah,
You're
you
enjoying the
right.
things of the flesh. Yeah, it's whenever you try to draw near that he's going to attack you.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to navigate, and that's where you get the strength.
Yeah.
He gives you the strength. I pray every day that God gives us the strength to walk the path that he lays out for me.
Yeah.
Not the path I want to walk, but the
Yeah.
path that he lays out for me. And
Yeah, it's super important. I tell young people that, like, you know, whether it be like my daughters or kids their age, like, boy, you guys got everything in front of you. If you could get on that path now, and I said, you've got it, you know, there's going to be bumps along the road, but if you could seek his will now, you know, the what he'll do through you to glorify him and bless you will be so amazing, you know.
Sure.
And I give so much credit to, like, somebody like my wife who grew up a Christian and was always that way. Just stayed true, stayed faithful, stayed in the, you know, and was able to witness to somebody like me who needed it, you know, and didn't have that really understanding. Those people who are young, who grow up that way and never lose that faith, are consistent believers. I have so much respect for that, because, you know,
that's definitely a gift. You almost envy it. You almost
but everybody has their own story, and that's why we're all unique.
Sure.
So is it tough being a Christian inside the prison system?
Yeah, and looking back, if I have one regret in life, I probably wish I would have been walked closer with the Lord, so I could have been a better witness for him in the military and in corrections. Because someday, you know, I know we don't get judged, that we've already been judged, you know, that we're saved, that we're his children. But sometimes I think, oh my, if he shows me all the people I should have witnessed to and I never witnessed to, what shame I should have, you know. And that's all the more reason for me to probably fall at his feet and worship him, because he forgives me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish I would have been a better example, because, you know, as I got older in corrections, I had a lot of younger men around me. And I mean, let's face facts. I had 28, 30 years in, 32 years in, and a lot of guys starting out, you know, they couldn't fathom 30 years in a place yet. And so, yeah, I wish I would have been a more of an example.
Yeah.
And maybe I did give a better example than what I think.
Sometimes you don't realize it.
Yeah, but I you know, we fall short, you know.
Yeah. Well, we always think we could do better.
Yeah.
You know, but
that's
to being a consistent person is an example to somebody who thinks, you know, what's different about that guy?
Yeah.
He's cool under pressure. He's consistent.
Sure.
Well, the difference is the Holy Spirit, the Lord.
Sure.
You know, that's to give all the credit. I've had somebody come up to me on a bridge deck one time and said, something different about you, and I don't know what it is.
Oh.
And I got the chance to tell him what it was.
Well, isn't that the amazing thing about the gospel, that how the doors are open?
Yeah.
That you can tell them about that?
Yeah. I didn't force it on him. He asked me. you know. And,
What's different about you?
Yeah.
Isn't that a blessing?
Yeah. So I don't know whether it ever sank in, but I told him.
Yeah, and it's not you,
You
that
don't
did
know.
it. It's the difference wasn't made by you.
Yeah.
See, that's
right.
that's amazing
I was
thing.
just being me.
The difference is that you didn't make that difference. He made that difference in you,
Yeah.
and that's the difference that
Yeah.
people don't grasp. Yeah. So
So, was it because of your military police background that the corrections department was a good fit for you after the military?
I believe so. I'll tell you the story. I got out of the military. They say the first thing you do, you go sign up on unemployment office and start looking for jobs. There's a job. So I get on unemployment office. I'm signing up for jobs, and I never drew on an unemployment check in my whole life. I signed up, but I ended up getting hired by. I went to I think Gilmore's and worked right away, and then I worked for Penn Lines. But when I was at there. At the unemployment office, a lady was there working behind that. She said, "Did you ever think about corrections officer? They need corrections officers." So I did my research. Well, they only give the test back then like once a year. There was only 8 prisons in the state back in the 80s. So I had to drive to Muncie. And my dad took the day off work. I filled out the paperwork. I drove the whole way up to Muncie. That was the only women's prison. And I took the test, and I came back. I never heard anything. And meanwhile, I'm working at Gilmore's, and my father-in-law says, "Hey, there's an opening in Penn Lines. Come with us." So I went to work for Penn Lines out of Scottsdale. And I worked for them, and I was working down Chickateague. We were setting poles and stuff down there, and we would come home on the weekends, and I didn't want to be away from my wife. I left the military because they controlled where I went and what I did, and they could pull me away from my family.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd never want to do that again. And corrections, I was waiting for them, but they never called me. Little did I know that's how they work. You take the test, and then you wait, and then they maybe call you for an interview, and then you wait. But meanwhile, I'll tell you a story. And Linda Henry wrote about Crossroads Day in her devotional.
I read that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Well, this hit me. I leave down there, Virginia. I leave there on a Thursday, and I worked with this one guy who's crazy. Now, I never smoked a weed in my life, never touched it. And he threw something in the truck we was in, and it landed on the dash, and here it was a joint, big fat, I just laughed, and we drive home. The next morning I get up. It's Friday morning. And I'm cleaning out my stuff from the truck. I was staying there. Me and my wife was our one son was living there with my in-laws, and my brother-in-law was there. He just graduated high school that year, and he said, "What's that?" I said, "That's a joint." I said, "Did you ever smoke one?" He goes, "No." I said, "You think we ought to light that?" And I said, "I never smoked one either." I said, "I can't get in trouble. I'm not in the military no more." I said, "Do you think we ought to smoke it?" He looked at me. "I don't know." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I don't know," and I threw it down over the bank.
Yeah.
That was Friday morning. Friday afternoon, my wife comes and gives me, "Todd, you got a phone call from Rockview State Prison." I go answer the phone. They said, "Report here Monday morning for your physical and blood work and all that stuff."
Oh, wow.
And I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me. That temptation
Could have changed your life.
could have changed the whole direction of my life to give in. I was at that crossroad. Linda's devotional hit me hard.
Yeah.
And then I was going to come
You thought
talk
of
to you.
that, yeah.
I thought that one joint, they would have thought I was a druggie maybe. One decision to partake in that one thing one time could have changed the whole direction of my life. But the good Lord was looking after me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and so many people so many people succumb to a temptation like that and then don't realize what impact it has on them. It just, that becomes the path of their life. And then,
sure.
But then, maybe look back and regret the decision later, but...
Yeah. Why did I make the right decision? Why was I the one that?
Yeah.
I mean, 32 years I worked there, and you get to purchase your military time. So I had 36 years in uniform that I got to retire at age 54. I would have had that.
Yeah.
And what a blessing I had received. But that one thing could have
Yeah.
stopped everything.
Yeah.
And it would have stopped it.
Well, hey, like her devotion said, wisdom.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
there's plenty of people with an education that you think should have wisdom that don't, and there's people who don't have that education that do have. The wisdom comes from the Lord.
Yeah.
You
It does.
know?
It does. And that's the thing.
A protection. That could have been her grandfather praying for you and her
Sure.
and your path in life, and that could have been a protection.
Listen to that voice say, and I know I shouldn't do this, even though it's
Yeah.
tempting. I
Yeah.
shouldn't do it. Don't
Yeah.
do it,
Yeah.
because I could have.
Yeah.
That could have changed the course of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't have looked good.
Yeah, no, it would have been hard for me to explain. I'm showing up for, and that shows up in my system.
Yeah,
because it
right.
stays for like 30 days.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, and like I said, I never did. So I don't know what that's like. I never experienced that. Don't know what that's like. So
Yeah, you don't want to know.
I don't want to know. So
It's not worth it. So you get hired there. You spend 30 years in that prison?
I got hired at Rockview State Prison. I worked there 3 years. That was probably
Where is that?
that is by State College,
Okay.
and that's where my second son, Tyler, was born up at State College.
Mhm.
He's one child in South Dakota and one up at State College. Rockview was a great experience for me. I mean, that jail was built in like 1912.
Wow.
And they closed it. They just now they're working on closing that jail now. It was a great experience. When I had my interview, I'll never forget. They put you in an elevator. It's 6-story high building. It has wings on the end of it, and that's where the jail cells were, the original jail. And you get in an elevator and you ride it to the top, and when the doors open, they come to 2 big oak double doors, and when they open them up, there was a big table, looked like the knight's table. And at the other end of that table was a people going to interview you. And they set you down in that table. They try to intimidate you.
Yeah.
And it was an experience like, thank the Lord I had experience in the military, but it was an intimidation thing.
Yeah.
If you'd have seen the size of this table and how far away and how they talk to you,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they drilled me pretty good. And my favorite question was by a hog farmer. He was a captain there, but on the side he was a hog farmer. As a matter of fact, the last time I talked to him was at Meyersdale. He come down to judge the hogs. And that was years ago.
Okay.
Probably 20 years ago. He had the biggest head I ever seen. So I left there telling my wife I just seen the biggest head on a guy I ever seen in my life. This guy had the biggest head. But anyhow, he looked at me and says, "Boy, if you see somebody coming over the fence and we're going to lose him, he's going to escape, or you're going to shoot him. Are you going to have a problem taking a life?" And I remember looking at him and saying, "No, sir." And that's what they was looking for.
Yeah.
They didn't want you to even hesitate,
Yeah.
because hesitation is what gets other people hurt.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that question. I thought, of all the questions, I don't remember any
You
other
weren't expecting
questions.
that one.
No, I was not expecting that.
Wow.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, probably your military training was, yes, sir, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild. Well, and to know that you might be faced with that situation someday.
Yeah.
And then when you sign up for that, when you join the military.
And they took it serious because right before that interview, they had a guy escape.
Okay.
No, he was working outside the fence. Believe it or not, he was a lifer. They actually let lifers go outside and work outside, and some of them wasn't supervised 24/7. What they would do, they would plow fields, and they had a rover that would go check on them every hour. And this guy escaped. He had a lady friend pick him up, and he
Jumped out of the
escaped.
tractor and
It was pre-planned, everything
Yeah.
pre-planned. They couldn't find him. He was living out in Idaho or someplace like that when they did get him, and the only reason they got him is because Unsolved Mysteries come and did a whole show at Rockview State Prison.
oh wow.
Yeah. What was it? Robert Stack? Or
Yeah.
whatever. I forget.
Yeah, I like that true crime. So
Yeah, it was the first true crime, unsolved mysteries.
Yeah.
But they was at Rockview. That was a big deal, you know.
Mm-hmm. Then you get transferred to prison here in Somerset? Or?
No, I transferred to Greensburg.
Okay.
And that was a blessing. I had a buddy that was there at Greensburg. He was at Rockview. First time I met him, he was at Rockview. We became friends. He worked one shift, and I worked a different friend. As a matter of fact, he's a buddy that we had a riot February of '89, and the inmates took over a block that he was on. And the sergeant and the other officer got out, but they took my buddy, and they took him hostage. And they never would consider hostage, but the inmates were actually taking up a collection to kill him. And we ended up we breached in and they got him out. They got my buddy out without him being harmed.
Wow!
But he was in there for a long period of time, hours. And the thing that impressed me about them old time guards was when we left that night, he was still at work till we punched out. And the next day, no one said a thing to him because he was there punching back in the next day going to work, and he was a hostage.
Wow.
Now, he was a Vietnam vet, never phased him.
Yeah.
They was going to take his life. That's the kind of example of men I was around.
Wow.
They was going to take his life, and he figured he figured they was going to do it. These guys are, you know,
yeah,
taking a life wasn't a big deal to them. As a matter of fact, they even had a table set up where inmates were coming out and giving up commissary. He says, once I get this much commissary, I'll kill him. That's what, he put a price on his head. Once the inmates were bringing stuff out of their cell, put it on the table. They wanted to see if he'd do it.
How's that even happen?
Like
they're in a common area where they're all together.
It was in a block.
Yeah.
And the doors are open. They have in the evening, they have a thing called block out. You know, if it's too ugly to go out in the yard, they have their rec right there. They have tables, they play cards. So you're talking, you know, one guard and 120 inmates. Well, oof. Now I worked the wing. We had 500 inmates. It was 5 tiers high. So it was, you know, it was extremely dangerous. So they all come downstairs for block out. So it was only 25 cells, one on this side and 25 on this, back to back. So it's a short distance, and you had hundreds of men. When there was a fight, you actually had to fight through inmates to get to it.
And there's only one of you?
Well, no, there was 4 of us, but a lot of times when you respond too.
Yeah.
And you learn real quick that when you respond, you have somebody kind of walking behind you. You kind of walk back to back. If you both are walking the same direction, looking the same way, you only see your field of view is only this. If you have back to back, you got 360. Yeah. So you learn not to get punched in the back of the head when because that's a free shot when you're trying to work through the crowd.
Yeah.
That's a good time for somebody to hit you in the back of the head.
Yeah. Huh. Did you ever get into any fights?
Yes. One of the first times I was ever assaulted, they had an inmate that was rode up from day shift, and I'm 2 to 10. I go in, I hang my coat up. The guy just got it was called a misconduct, got his misconduct, and he just went off. He come running down, and somebody said, Pritts, and I went to turn. He hit me, and he ran past me. And I couldn't even catch him. He was fast. And he was out the door, and when he went past the sergeant, he punched him. And he ran over to this control center. There was no cameras when I started corrections. So he knew if he got to the main control center, there would be female staff, secretaries, everybody watch it. He didn't get what he had coming probably at that time. But as far as fights, I experienced more than probably the normal CO because I worked with a group of guys. We worked in a restricted housing unit for a lot of years. I did 12 years almost in the restricted housing unit.
Okay. Well, now what's a restricted housing unit?
Restricted housing unit is where when you can't behave in jail, they give you a misconduct. It's like a ticket. They call it a ticket. That's a misconduct.
Time out for prisoners.
They write you up and they stick you in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had guys in the hole for 30 years that was in the hole for 30 years and never got out.
Wow.
Danny Delker killed a captain down at SCI Pittsburgh, so he never got out of the hole. I think eventually he did get out of the hole after I retired. But there was that much of a threat. We had, we had one inmate in there that he killed 3 cellies. Every time they gave him a cell, he killed them. So, they had to put him in the hole. They had to put him in a place where they could.
Can I ask you a question that's off topic?
Yeah.
And I always say this because I've been in the news, and I'm curious to hear a regular correctional officer's opinion on this. Could Epstein have killed himself in a cell like that?
I would tell you this here. Our suicide prevention cells that we have and the technology, I would say it's impossible. They give you a jumper that's, you cannot tear that thing. They put you in a room that's solid steel. They put you, there isn't anything, they don't give you a pair of underwear even. You know, they don't give you anything. If you're on suicide watch, I think it's impossible to kill yourself. Yeah. That's my opinion. And I've seen many men in 32 years on suicide watch, and I've seen men try to starve themselves to death. That's harder to do than the other thing. That whole thing just seems fishy to me.
Yeah. Well, people, when there's a vacuum of information, people speculate, and they say, but they haven't shown us. They haven't shown us the information. Seems too, like you said, seems too fishy.
We've never had anybody that was on suicide watch commit suicide. Okay.
Let alone the most high-profile prisoner in some of America's history.
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, if we give somebody 24/7 attention, that we put a guard in front of their cell, and we have all their preventions, what did they do with him?
Yeah.
You mean they put him in something less? I find that hard to believe. That was very high profile.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some high profile guys come through. I dealt with some high profile guys. I dealt with Jerry Sandusky quite a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was the football coach, or
Penn State. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've taken.
Yeah, but that's hard. But
Yeah,
that's hard seeing people that commit those types of crimes.
Well, the difference.
It'd be hard to even be around them.
Well, the difference was, for me, the biggest shock I got in corrections was when I worked at Rockview. They had a place called B North. There's a B block, B South, B North, and in B North was all the child molesters. Okay. They exercised, ate, everything they did was separated from regular inmates because the regular inmates would have taken their lives.
Yeah.
That was the worst crime that mankind could commit.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's Jesus say? Better a millstone be tied around your neck. And
Yes. And now, corrections, you have the child molesters that must run into prisons.
Really?
They're out in general population. If they say something, you better listen up. It really turned. It took a turn to other inmates, and I think to myself, if you only knew, I mean, if you study like the riots in, I believe it was Mexico, what did the other inmates go for? They went and busted through the cells, and they used torches to cut through the cells of the child molesters to take their lives. That's how much the hatred was. So that has changed. It's almost like they're part of the.
I don't even think they should get to prison. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
I think they should. I think that they should meet their maker.
It's not like that no more in prison for them. It's not. I mean, it's a shameful thing. I had inmates tell me, Pritts, I wanted to hurt that Jerry Sandusky, but after he talks, I kind of like him. He had the gift. He had a gift. As a matter of fact, my wife had a foot doctor that played Boston College football.
There's a Crossroads episode or situation where he took the wrong crossroad.
There is.
Yeah,
it is. But Jerry Sandusky, actually, this football player got in trouble, and he had to sit out during this one or two games, And Jerry Sandusky called him from Pennsylvania up to Boston College and said, "Can you scout a game for me?"
Wow.
I mean, Jerry Sandusky he was involved everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody knew him.
Hmm.
And Joe Paterno, he ran Penn State up there. I mean, Penn State was all about that football.
Yeah.
Living up there, right? So
Yeah, I've never been to a Penn State game.
yeah, it's
Never.
Happy Valley. Yeah,
I saw Pitt play when I was at Rutgers. They played Rutgers in the football. See, University of Maryland Terrapins game at University of Maryland. Never got to see Penn State game. But, yeah, Rutgers was like Penn State rivals, like our program. So
Yeah,
it was
sure.
like, if you're Penn State, it was like, But sorry to all the Penn State fans.
Yeah, well, I have one son that he graduated from Penn State. One of our sons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Penn State. It's a nice area, but we wanted to get back home.
Yeah.
So
I worked up there for a little while. We built this. When I worked for PJ Dick in the Union. We built it was like a testing facility for some type of really big high pressure air tank.
Okay.
And we had to build this room, and it had 2 foot thick concrete walls and a ceiling, and it had a blast door on it, and they were testing something in there that it had to contain it if it went wrong.
Yes.
And the door, whatever door they put on it, had to be like embedded in the concrete, embeds everywhere. And
that must have been.
Yeah, it was neat. But the cap, everything was all
Yeah.
tied together. Rebar, 2 foot thick. The walls were.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. They're doing all kind of stuff. But that's whenever I left because I was working away. Like I didn't want to be.
I don't ever want to work away again. I did it like that. I don't like being away at night and from my family.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't do my job, protect my family.
Yeah.
When I'm
Right.
There.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
But that was a good experience, and then I transferred to Greensburg,
Yeah.
and I went from a 500-man block to a 48-man block. It was like, this can't be all there is. So it was like probably the dream job for a prison guard to go to Greensburg, and then I worked there 3 years, and then they opened up Somerset. It was a no-brainer for me to transfer.
Yeah.
And then I had some great guys I worked with at SCI Somerset also. I mean, the guys I worked with they was top-notch. Mm-hmm. Top-notch guys.
Now, do they provide you with training you need to be a correctional officer?
Yes.
Like say you didn't have a military, like your military background helped you.
Well, yeah. When I got in, you most jails, there was only 8 prisons when I got in, and if you have a military background, you wasn't going to get a job. That 8 jails across the state blew up to 28. In my time in corrections, it's down to 23 now. But during that time, they closed a lot of state hospitals too.
Are these privately owned? Or
No.
all 23 of those state owned?
They're all state.
Okay.
They're
so
all
PA
state.
doesn't have any privately owned prisons.
There might be some in the state now. I'm not aware of. I think there's 83 facilities in the state of Pennsylvania. Most of them are counties.
Yeah. Because I've heard, like, allegedly, like, there's a profit for crime, and there's a profit for these judges to turn people back out or into the prison so they go in again and go in again. Like,
Sure.
some of the private ones. You know what I mean? Like, they have incentive to. But I don't know if that's true or not. But
lawsuits hurt that a lot. I had to. Most of my time in Somerset was I worked in the restricted housing unit, and the other time was transport. I either did hospital trips or court trips.
yeah,
I got to learn a lot about court trips. I spent a lot of time in federal court and got to see a lot of hearings. I would say the thing, if you're a private institution, the thing that's going to hurt you more than anything is lawsuits. The ability to file lawsuits, the ability to take you to federal court. I watched one inmate receive $400,000 settlement.
they can't do that with the state. Well,
Can
maybe
you
they
imagine
can, but that would be a
Can you
lot
imagine
harder.
privately owned? I mean,
Yeah.
and being able to sit on as a corrections officer, you're with that inmate. Things are brought up. The judge will stop the trial and tell the jury dismiss them until they hear it, and then the judge will whether it's relevant or not,
Yeah.
and then bring him in. So
You probably got to sit in on a lot of trials.
you get to hear everything, so the jury does not. So justice is not always served. The one trial I was on that guy won, there was a woman come in there in a wheelchair. And during the trial, she kept going, my baby, they hurt my baby, the whole time. And finally, on the way home, it was long days. We drove to Pittsburgh every day for federal court. So we left at 5 in the morning. I did get back to like 7 at night. And I asked that inmate, I said, who is that lady? He says, Pritts, I have no idea who she is. He says, my father heard I was going to federal court, and he found her somewhere. So to make a scene that I said, you're kidding me. She goes, no, I don't know who she is. He says, but the thing of it is, if I win, she's going to expect money, and she ain't getting no money.
Oh, yeah.
So I found that quite entertaining.
Oh, there's all kind of shenanigans
she
you
was
wouldn't
there.
even think about.
She was there, put it on a show in federal court, and she wanted her payday.
Yeah.
If he won, and they made up his mind she wasn't getting no payday. It's quite entertaining.
Yeah. Well, she was dealing with prisoners, so like it's not the most honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess she had nothing else to do. His dad brought her there.
Yeah. So would you say that it's a good career for?
Yes, I'd say it treated me quite well. They dropped the age limit from 21 down to 18 now, and you don't necessarily have to be a veteran to get hired.
Yeah.
I would say the most important thing any corrections officer could do is have a moral foundation, a solid foundation first, because you lose an employee a year getting involved with inmate stuff that you shouldn't be involved with.
Yeah.
And so I'd say you have to have that foundation. And if you don't have that solid foundation, it's not the place for you to work. And it's hard when you're 18 years old.
I can imagine.
To have that solid foundation built.
Yeah.
So corruption,
You're not among the best and the brightest.
No.
I'm talking about the inmates. You're surrounded by, and people can be influential.
Sure, but as far as brightness, some of them are the most brilliant people you ever met in your life.
Yeah.
If you study the Pittsburgh Six, that escaped from Pittsburgh, their lead, the guy that planned it all, he was, I think he spoke 6 languages. He was very intelligent.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, he works for now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, we had doctors in prison. We have guys and then the guy the muscle guy, he was that did most of the digging. He was we would call freak of nature, the way he could twist his body and the strength of this man. He was a great guy. He worked for us in the hole. We gave him a job working. When they got caught down in Texas and brought him up to us, he was locked up in our hole for quite some time. Then we gave him a job in the hole, and he was a good worker. He was. We also had one of them. The one that got them caught was a guy that had sugar. They took an older guy. They felt sorry for him. He had diabetes, and he didn't have his medicine. And they caught him because he had an attack and fell out. And I'll tell you the story. You have to search your cell in the hole. You put him in the shower. You escort him. You go to the cell. You cuff him. You walk him. You put him in the shower. And this is jail humor. You'd look up on the shelf, and he would always take out his glass eye and put it on the shelf. And then the whole time you're searching his cell, he'd be in the shower and say, I see you, Pritts. I'm watching you. So we was there wasn't one day in my life working a prison that I wasn't entertained somehow.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. I always look at that glass eye looking at me, and he's yelling in the background, I'm watching you.
Oh, man, the amount of characters that you had to have come across.
Yeah. Yeah,
and probably some funny guys too. Like, there's people who made mistakes, and my father-in-law did the work release thing for them for a little while. He would tell me some stories, he's in the van, him and another guy, and a group of inmates, and they're going out to do work, teach them how to do some trades and stuff like that. And he'd tell me stories. He's like, talk about funny. And just, I go, is it you or him that told me a story? They went to Sheets, and all the windshield washer fluid sits out there outside. And they say, you mean they don't lock that up? It just sits there. Nobody takes it.
Yeah. Yeah, I had we've had some good experiences. We did a lot with the Somerset was like our restricted housing unit. I believe we ran one of the best restricted housing units in the state. So every time there was an escape, they sent them straight to Somerset when they caught them.
No kidding.
Yeah, I think we ran a very good, tight ship there. I really do.
Yeah.
And it was because of the people I worked with and worked for, I stayed a CO1, so I had, it wasn't me. I wasn't in charge. We had great leadership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Talk about crossroads. Like, I went to school for criminal justice, and I thought that was going to be my path, you know. And then, not it. God says, here, throw this at the wall for a while, and we'll see if this sticks. That's kind of what he's doing with me. He's done with me.
Sure.
But they showed us some videos, took us to SCIs. They're going to take us. We couldn't go to the prison for some reason. We were going to go, but Ray Sabino taught a class of ours. And he was the superintendent there for a while.
He was one of the better superintendents you ever come across in a lifetime of corrections. He was.
I liked him.
He I would say this. He probably ran some of the best jails in this state. Yeah, he was a good superintendent.
Yeah,
and I'm telling you that.
Yeah. I mean, he seemed like a really good guy whenever we had him there. And they took us to what's now the Laurel Highlands. What was the mental hospital, right?
Yeah, Laurel Highlands. Yeah.
They took us there and walked through.
Yeah,
with all our students. That was eerie. That was different. Walking through there, and they had blocks, like you said. Walking through there, and they're. You see all them eyeballs on you. It's a weird feeling.
Ray Sabina, talk about him. He when you came to his jail, he knew your name.
Yeah.
He had 400 employees, maybe up to 500 at one time, and he knew your name. As a matter of fact, there was Ray Sabina left to go open up another jail, and there was a young man that got hired there at Somerset. He might have been there 2-3 months, and Ray Sabina left. Years later, he goes on a transport with me. And when Ray Sabina seen me in the parking lot, he was walked over to me to tell me. He said, hey Todd, how's it going? And he looked at the guy with me. He says, hey Eric, how's it going? And the guy was amazed. He said, how do you know my name? He never ever.
Wow.
When someone got hired, he would look at their picture, and he would remember their name.
Wow.
And this was years later, probably 10, 15 years later.
Yeah.
A guy he never talked to.
Yeah.
But he just remembered his name.
Wow.
That's incredible. That was a unique skill he had.
Yeah, leadership matters.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Even with, you bring it back to church, we were blessed with such a good leader there.
Oh, yeah, dude, yeah. We're so blessed to have Tim. And that helps you in your walk through this life.
Yeah.
It really does. We're blessed. We have that great leadership in our schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you had Mark Bowers. Right.
You have.
I tell everybody.
It's funny how good leadership really does make a difference.
Yeah, I tell everybody. I said we got the best superintendent in the county, in the state. I tell everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's he could have done anything.
Yeah.
He's got two boys he's very proud of, and daughter-in-law right now. So we've been praying for them because they're in the military, and so all right. So you're retired now, and you got 2 sons and a mess of grandkids, right?
Yes, 8 grandkids.
They keep you busy.
And
not only do they keep you busy, but I know Tyler keeps you pretty busy too, right?
Yeah, with his coverbridge garlic, I love it. Should tell you, Tracy kind of pushes me out front and makes me do all the talking. She's an introvert, she says.
It's good stuff. If you get a chance to try it, Coverbridge Garlic Company. Yeah.
Yeah, we're blessed.
So how did that start? And I don't know, I was going to get a chance to talk to Tyler sometime.
Yeah, you got to. I don't know. You know, where we live on the side of the hill. The sun doesn't come up and hit our property till like 10:30, 11 o'clock. So we tried to plant tomato plants. We just can't grow anything. The sun, we don't get enough sun. So we never had a garden, but my dad always did. And then when Ty got his own place, he loves to grow stuff. Is there anything he doesn't grow? I'm trying to think. Is there anything that he grows everything? And then he started growing garlic and making this seasoning. He made that seasoning. Everybody fell in love with it and just expanded from there. And when I tell people I take it to restaurants with me, I do.
Yeah.
I carry it with me into restaurants because you pay a lot of money for food.
Yeah.
I want it to taste good, and I know if I put his stuff on, it's going to taste good, even if it's not that good.
Yeah.
So, but and yeah, that's
I just think that's neat.
we meet so many people. We did that farm show.
Mm-hmm.
Heidi Swanovic, we went down there, and the Swanovics are big into that, and what a blessing that was to us to be able there. And we usually put out a little Jesus or two that and that always brings up some conversations.
Yeah.
And we give a lot away to kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's neat that somebody said, "Okay, I'm going to grow this garlic. Now I'm going to dry it, grind it." Is that the process?
Yeah, it's work. It's
I can imagine.
It's all physical work, and it's a lot of time, a lot of work, and I don't know how he does it, but he does it.
Yeah. You have two good sons. I appreciate them both. Yeah, I like seeing Todd when he comes around too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's nice when they come. It's nice that you and Todd. Yeah, you're close in age.
Yeah, and he's a good family man. You can tell.
Yeah,
and both of them are.
He's big in his. He's dedicated to his church down there. He's blessed. I got the privilege years ago to go with. We stayed down there, and he gets up once a week, and they have a men's Bible study group. And oh my, the men in his Bible study, it's all just men, and what a group of men that he's surrounded by. So
yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing. I learned a lot. Because a lot of times we're busy. I don't get a chance to have the time to sit down and honestly get to know the things that we could talk about here. We don't always get a chance to talk about at church, but no, I appreciate it. I think there's a lot of stuff for people to glean from your experience. So, just thanks for being a friend. And
thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you took the time to do this.
I appreciate it, Tim.
All right. Anything else?
No, just praise the Lord that He gave us this time together, and hopefully one person.
Yeah.
Here's
right, exactly. Yep, helps somebody So, all right, Todd. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, bye.